We have the first substantial Zero Company coverage since the announcement at Star Wars Celebration almost a year ago. PC Gamer flew out to Bit Reactor's offices in Maryland, spent 4.5 hours with the game, and published a full hands-on breakdown. New mechanics, characters, story details, and the clearest signal yet on where this game is in development. There was a lot to get through, but let's get into it. Every new detail, and at the end I'll tell you what this means and what we're still waiting for. If you played XCOM, the combat loop will feel immediately familiar. PC Gamer describes it as slipping on a favourite pair of jeans. You control a squad of 4. Each character gets 3 action points per turn. Moving costs AP depending on distance. Some abilities cost more than 1 point. On top of that, your whole squad shares a pool of advantage points, which you build up by attacking enemies and spend on special abilities separately from AP. Every class has an ultimate ability that costs a big chunk of that advantage pool. The Assault class gets a triple shot. The Heavy gets a rocket launcher blast. There are also smaller abilities that pull from the same pool, like Hawks being able to spend a little advantage to give 1 AP back to a squad mate once per turn. That's the combat side. What the article spends a lot of time on is what happens outside of combat, because it's not just the menus and a base screen. You have a full third-person action-adventure control of your protagonist in the environments. Before a fight starts, PC Gamer said you could be forgiven for thinking you're playing a Jedi Fallen Order spin-off. The production value is described as sumptuous and expensive, and the Lucasfilm collaboration apparently results in something that reads as authentically Star Wars throughout. On the mission side missions are single zones with objectives like elimination, hostage rescue, or holding a capture point. They're all hand-designed. The only procedural element is which specific enemies spawn depending on where you are in the story. Story missions are more complex with multiple combat encounters connected by exploration segments. Enemy design is getting interesting too. The Force-empowered shock troops of the main villain faction have a mechanic where, when you kill one, their spirit floats off and butts a nearby ally. That bonus stacks. If it stacks enough, that ally goes berserk and basically becomes a boss. So smart play means managing their health bars carefully, not just eliminating threats as fast as you can. There are 8 standard classes: Assault, Heavy, Sharpshooter, Scoundrel, Soldier, Gunslinger, Scout, and Medic. Any character, including your custom recruits and Hawks, can be spec'd into any of these. On top of that, there are 4 exotic classes with restrictions. The Astromech class is exclusive to droids, and droids can be customized through an extensive droid builder. Jedi Padawan is locked to one specific story character. The Mandalorian Warrior is locked to a story character too. And there is a 4th exotic class that Bit Reactor is not revealing yet, either saving it for a future announcement or leaving it as an in-game surprise. The Jedi Padawan is described as a melee glass cannon capable of insanely fun combos. You only get one, and she belongs to an especially rare alien species. That checks out for the Clone Wars era. For Hawks and your custom-hired mercenaries, species include, and I'm going to get all the pronunciations wrong for these, so don't judge me, Twi'lek, Zabrak, Togrota, Devaronian, and Moralian, among others. Nailed it. Hawks is also fully voiced, and you can customize sex and gender. Between missions, you're working off a galaxy map. Every cycle of time opens up new missions and operations, each with a countdown before they expire. You can run as many operations as you have resources for per cycle, but only one full combat mission per cycle. The combat mission ends the cycle and advances time forward. Operations are non-combat activities. PC Gamer compared them to the text-based adventure sequences from Pillars of Eternity or the Pathfinder RPGs. You are presented with a situation like gathering intelligence at a cantina, and you pick your approach: schmooze, bribe, or start a brawl. Each option has trade-offs in terms of reward and how your squad feels about it. The brawl option could result in a serious injury to whoever you send. Here's the part that makes the operations feel like they have real weight. Enemy factions are getting permanent upgrade tied to these operations. You choose which of 2 upgrades you want a given faction to not have, and you run the operation to stop it. If you ignore the operations, the enemy just gets both. It's not optional filler, it feeds directly back into how hard the combat gets later. Some operations also build into ongoing side stories. You help someone out, and 10 cycles later they come back with useful information. Or you shot them, and now there's a problem on the map that you have to deal with. One operation mentioned involves Zero Company helping beast hunters on Onderon, which pulls from the Clone Wars show, Tales of the Jedi comics, and Knights of the Old Republic 2. Your protagonist Hawks is a non-clone, non-Jedi Republic officer who gets left holding the bag after a military blunder. They go rogue with their clone companion Trick and form Zero Company. Early in the game, they get recruited by a Republic intelligence officer and a dispossessed noblewoman to investigate a separatist-aligned dark side cult. The character work sounds genuinely good, PC Gamer compared the friction between characters to Mass Effect 2's Legion and Tali, or Shadowheart and Lae'zel in Baldur's Gate 3. Characters with real ideological conflicts you have to navigate. Trick and Umbara and Sniper Lugo Bronk have deep bad blood because of what happened on Umbara in the Clone Wars. There is a bond system where characters who go on missions together build relationships over time, and even enemies like those two can grow past it. The standout character is Runa Blask, one of your advisors at the base. She's a hardcore separatist partisan who has been pushed out by internal politics and spends most of her time lecturing Hawks about Republican imperialism. She told Hawks to their face that her time with the separatists was the best days of her life, and Zero Company was a downgrade. PC Gamer called her their favourite character in the whole game. Permadeath works like this. Anyone except Hawks can die permanently. When a character goes down in a mission, they sustain an injury that carries over until you pay for treatment. Accumulate the 3 injuries and get downed again, and that's it. There is a risk-reward decision every time you revive someone mid-mission, because they are now 1 injury closer to permanent death. If Hawks goes down, it's straight game over. The narrative lead was initially resistant to permadeath. He lost that argument about 13 months ago and now believes it was the right call. The design team's takes on why it fits. Star Wars is about loss. They want players to push through it rather than reload saves. So here's my take. PC Gamer called it Game of the Year contender after 4.5 hours. That's not a throwaway line from a publication like that. The pedigree is real, the design philosophy is coherent, and the amount of content in this game is more than most people probably expected. It's not just XCOM with a Star Wars skin. The operations layer, the character relationships, the third-person exploration, the enemy design. It all sounds like it's been thought through properly. The game is confirmed for 2026, no release date yet. That's what we're still waiting for. Other unknowns, the 4th exotic class, more detail on the main villain, and whether we get a proper gameplay trailer before launch. Summer Game Fest is in June, which historically is a strong window for this kind of announcement. When that drops, I'll have a video up on this channel as fast as I can get it to you. If you're not subscribed yet, now's a good time. I'm covering every Zero Company update, so you're not scrambling when things start moving. Thanks for watching.